Unfortunately, scammers are finding new ways to steal your money. Two schemes in particular are targeting people around the Carolinas. Juliana O'Rork from the Better Business Bureau is here this morning. Hi, Juliana.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning. So she just got here into the hot seat, and we're talking now about this ghost tapping scam. We hear about ghosting a lot when, people just kind of flake on you. They don't answer your calls, or, I hear about it in dating. But now there is a scam, ghost tapping scam.
Yes.
What is this about?
Yes, so ghost tapping is essentially targeting tap to pay and your mobile wallet. And so what happens is essentially you could be in a crowd around other people, but scammers are getting close enough to you to transfer funds without having to actually have a physical card present. So just like you would go in somewhere or a gas station, tap to pay, use your mobile wallet, what have you. A lot of us don't want to carry around wallets these days and physical cards. But unfortunately, scammers are now taking advantage of this as well. And so, like I said, if you're in a big crowd of people, they could get a little too close. Maybe you're also at some type of an event and they've now set up a vendor booth, if you will. They're not legitimate. You're tapping to pay for something. So those are a couple things that we want people to be aware of. And this is newer. This is something we haven't really talked much about in the past. So we want people to be aware and educated. We don't want people to be scared. But yeah, there's a few ways that people are taking advantage of this. And so, most of the time NFC is a safe form, but as always, scammers find their way everywhere.
Oh my God. I mean, yeah, you think about technology, how great it is to be able to do that, contactless pay.
Yeah.
And so how does this work then with protecting yourself?
Yeah, so you want to just obviously always be careful. We always encourage people with your any type of credit card, debit card, set up alerts. So anytime you get charged for something, you're getting a notification. Make it so that, you kind of just always know what's going on with your bank accounts, with your financial information. You can always use an RFID type of wallet or a sleeve. I know those are really popular. You may not know they're called that. But it essentially blocks anybody from charging your card or your mobile wallet. So there's a little bit more protection there. So yeah, you just kind of have to be careful across the board.
Okay. All right. Then how do you know you are being targeted?
Well, that's just it. You kind of don't. So you have to be really careful. And anytime you do tap to pay, we always encourage people to make sure it shows the amount that's on there. One of the reports we've received to our scam tracker was that basically how their story is that someone was going around a neighborhood door to door selling chocolate or candy or, for some nonprofit or something. Right. Unfortunately, they were a scammer. And what they were doing was they were saying, well, I can only accept tap to pay. And so somebody comes to your door selling chocolate for $1 or $2, you're like, okay, I'll donate. But they don't show what the amount being charged is. And so the report that came into us said that this person's going around neighborhoods charging people just tap to pay, but they're charging them $500, $1,000, whatever it might be, because it's not actually showing what's being charged or what the name of the vendor is, right? You're just kind of putting your card, tapping it, you hear that beep, it went through, and then you're on your way. And if you don't have any type of notification set up or you don't look at your bank account frequently or the charges, then you may not have any idea that they charged you that amount until, a couple days later, and now your card could be compromised. And so, yeah, we just encourage people to pay a lot of attention when you have any of your personal information on you, any credit cards, your mobile wallet, all of that.
Okay, wow. So if you do realize the days later that you paid $500 for the dollar candy bar because of your tap to pay, what's the first thing people should do?
So always report it to your financial institution, your banking institution, wherever you have that card set up through. Report it to BBB Scam Tracker. We, of course, want to know what's going on so we can come and talk to you all and say, hey, this is what's happening. And then also freeze that card. We don't obviously want anybody taking any additional funds from you. And then hopefully you'll be able to work with your financial institution or your bank.
Yeah, you got to get the replacement card. A little bit of a pain, so just do the things you can proactively to protect yourself.
Right.
All right, so ghost tapping is not the only scam we want to watch out for. Fake relief check phone calls.
Yes.
What is that about? Yeah, it is. All right. So what are people hearing when they get these phone calls?
So essentially it's a phone call unsolicited, which we always tell people don't answer unsolicited phone calls. If it's somebody that's really important, of course, they'll probably leave you a voicemail. But in the event you do answer it, somebody says, hey, I'm so-and-so calling from this company, that company, whatever it might be. And, we see that you have these unclaimed funds, this relief check that you never claimed. The only way you can do that to claim it, though, is go to this website. And so they'll give you a website and then hope that you essentially go there, put in your information. And then once you put in the information, now they're going to contact you with all these different other ways. They're going to have these pop-ups that say, oh, you've qualified for this, that, and the next one. In reality, all they want is your personal information or your financial information. And so, if you get a phone call like that, and maybe you qualified for some of the relief checks that have been distributed in the past and you didn't get them, who knows? Go to the actual government website. Don't, take the information from the phone call, kind of ignore that, and just do your own research. Go to the actual site to see and determine whether or not you actually have a relief check waiting for you. Most of the time, too, I don't think they're going to call you to tell you you have a relief check waiting for you.
Right.
Oftentimes, they communicate by mail, snail mail. They send you a paper form saying, hey, XYZ, you got this, sitting out here. So you want to do your due diligence before you go to any faulty website. Even if you just land on the website, it could potentially put malware on your device, whichever device you're on. So you just have to be so careful when you're getting information or contacted by unsolicited people.
Yeah, the BBB receiving over 800 reports about this particular kind of scam in just the last couple of months.
In just the last 2 months, we've had over 800 reports come into us about that. And so obviously we know the government's currently shut down. There's a lot going on in the world we pay attention to, and scammers take advantage of anything pressing, popular. How can they make people act fast? If you feel pressured, that's another red flag. Anytime somebody's really pressuring you to do something, or put your information in now, it won't be available in an hour, whatever, what might have you. But so just be super careful, hang up the phone. Obviously, as we always recommend, don't engage. Make sure that you verify with these other websites, make sure it's a secure website, all the typical tips that we give people.
So they're obviously trying to collect your information. Like you said, if you hit that website, maybe they already planted the malware. Oh, so scary.
Yes.
How can you tell the difference then between a legitimate government call from something that is fake?
Yeah, so most of the time the government's never going to call you. So that's the biggest red flag, right? They're never going to call you. They're never going to text you. They're just going to send you information in the mail. They even say that as well. So that should be the first red flag, is the government's not calling you to tell you that you have money that you haven't claimed from them. We would love it if they did that, but they don't.
Yeah.
And so that's going to be a big red flag. But also, from a website standpoint, it should always be a .gov website. That's kind of how government websites function. But if you're on a website, to be able to tell some of the telltale signs if it's legitimate or not, is it secure? Does it have HTTPS? There's a little lock symbol. Are there grammatical errors? Are there spelling errors? What kind of images are you seeing on there? Do a reverse Google search to see where else are these images appearing. Also, even just the content, does it read right? Does it make sense? Does it look like maybe it was in another language that was then transitioned to English? Because a lot of these scammers are overseas. They don't live here. And so those are all things you can kind of pay attention to determine, hey, is this website even legitimate? And also trust your gut. I know we talk about that sometimes, but it's kind of one of those common sense things. And so if you feel like something's off, it's probably because it is. So really trust your instincts when it comes to stuff like this.
Yeah, absolutely. They're getting sophisticated, but so are we.
That's
or at least we need to.
That's right.
So if you do get suspicious, take the extra time. Because sometimes you're just going through your emails, your phone calls real quick, and you're like, you click on them.
Exactly. You're moving too quickly. So we want everybody to stay educated. Don't be scared. Just, know the information. And go to bbb.org if you have questions, if you need more information. We have so much on our website when it comes to scams. Anytime we hear of something new, we talk about it, especially if we're getting reports. And in this case, like you mentioned, more than 800 in 2 months is a lot.
Too much. All right. 800 too many. All right. Thank you, Juliana. Anything else we need to know for today?
I think that's pretty much it for today, but I'll probably be back in a week or two with more.
I know. add to the scam list. We got to
Yeah.
keep up with those scammers so they don't get us and our information. Very important. All